recently, several strangers have slid into my DMs to ask if I have bulging eye syndrome. All of them doctors. Every time it happens, I'm like, what? What? It truly did happen so many times that I went for a blood test because it's the symptom of a thyroid condition, and it turns out I don't have bulging eye syndrome. I am just constantly startled by life. It's the official diagnosis. Deer in headlights disease. I've been getting a lot of pressure to have a baby. My mom really wants me to have a kid, but she won't say it to me directly. She sat me down the other day and she goes, "Leah, my psychic said that you were gonna get pregnant this year." Which I was like, great. Then I'm sure he also said I was gonna get an abortion. This year. She did not like that. Some of you don't either. Oopsies, whoopsie daisies. So, it's fine, it's an old joke. I wrote it last year when women still had rights. The truth is, I feel like I don't really have a maternal instinct. You know, like I like kids. I like hanging out with kids casually. But I feel like I don't know how to parent. Like, I have a 5-year-old niece. She's the best. I love going out with her. But when we hang out one-on-one, people will assume I'm the mom, and they ask me questions that confuse me. Like, I took her out to lunch the other day, and this server comes to the table, and he goes, "Something to drink for the little one." And I was like, what? Stop that. God. I guess I'll do a skinny margarita. You know? Oh, and a sippy cup. Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm a spiller. You know? We had fun. She drove home. I really just wish I had been a teen mom. Really, just like gotten it out of the way, you know? They get a bad rap, but I feel like, you know, if I have a baby now, like, it's gonna interfere with my career. That wasn't the joke. But I feel like if I had a baby when I was 15, like, that thing would be a fully grown adult by now. They could help me make my TikToks. Thank you. Yeah. Just be like, hold that ring light, you dumb shit. Like, I'd be a good mom, I think. I don't know. I'm also just afraid of having a shitty kid. Does anyone here have a shitty kid? Yeah. Yeah. Good for you for admitting it. I feel like a lot of you probably have shitty kids and just don't know it, you know? Because you love your kids so much, I feel like we have our blinders on, you know? And I feel like that would be me. I feel like I would have a kid that would turn into a teenage boy. It would be a boy, because boys are shitty. No offense. Yeah, that would say things like, "Oh, mom." That's how my teenage boy talks. oh, Mom, give me right over to my buddy Chubby's house. He's having a house party tonight. I'm trying to get my dick sucked. And I feel like you love your kids so much. What do? I feel like I'd just be like, okay, get in the car. Gonna take you to Chubby's house. Gonna get your little dick sucked. It's okay. This is a made up scenario. This is not real. What? Like, no boy of mine would have a lil dick. My boy'd be packing. I am married. My husband is great. We're very different. I think that's why it works. Opposites attract. You know, he's like a little more type A. I feel like I'm a little more easygoing. Like, he's someone who likes to like organize the refrigerator. And I'm someone who likes to like wreck the car. I'm just like a real free spirit. You know? I'm a nonconformist when it comes to stop signs. I go with my gut. I'm an emotional driver. I'm a terrible driver, is what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't ever drink and drive, but what I do is way more dangerous. I cry and drive. Just. Why won't anyone hang out with me? Like, I will just rear end someone so they have to give me their number. Now you gotta give me your info, Shelly. I'll call you. Call her the next day. Hey, Shelly. It's Leah from The Wreck. Oh, no, I don't have insurance. Just wondered if you needed a lift somewhere. I'll show you the real meaning of ride or die. My husband and I just bought a Subaru together. Thank you. I think it makes us officially middle-aged lesbians. It's by far the most expensive thing we've ever purchased. And by we, I mean his parents. And the first week we had it, I drove it into the wall of a Trader Joe's parking garage. Just fearless flyered my way into that thing. Just $2 chucked the whole front bumper. Cost us a lot of unexpected cheddar. And I was so upset when it happened, I called him hysterical. And he was really sweet about it. He was like, "It's okay, it's just a car. I'm just glad you're okay." And I was like, "I'm not okay. They didn't have frozen Mandarin chicken!" We started going to couples therapy. I don't like it. Because in couples therapy, the therapist always likes one person more. And you can tell, you know? And in our case, she likes him more. She does. And I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know if it's because he's just like a little more like emotionally intelligent than me. Or like maybe because he doesn't display like narcissistic tendencies. Or I don't know, maybe because he like shows up for the appointments. It's like nerd alert. We've been trying to get a handle on our finances, so we started doing these weekly budget meetings. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I messed that up. I said that wrong. We started doing these weekly fights. Where he accuses me of spending too much money on bougie coffee. And I remind him that if he lived a little more in the present, he would realize that credit cards are really just free gift cards. Like, we could all die tomorrow, you know? And last I checked, debt doesn't follow you to heaven. He didn't really laugh at that one. I just feel like I take like a new age approach to finances. You know, I feel like the money is always just gonna show up somehow, right? It's like you put it out to the universe, and then you ask your dad to deposit $2,000 into your account. And then it just manifests. We got a daddy's girl here. I have anxiety. Yeah, okay. An anxious room, I love it. I have all the kinds of anxiety. I have social anxiety, but I also have solitary anxiety, you know. With people, without people, awake, asleep, indoor, outdoor, I am constantly spiraling. Like, I cannot shut this thing up. But there's a lot of tools that I've been using, you know. There's tools out there. Deep breathing, self-care walks, 7 martini lunches. And my brother keeps telling me that I should get on meds to manage it, and I keep telling him I don't need meds. I can handle it on my own. Now please leave me alone so I can get back to my 7-hour panic attack about whether the waitress at the Cracker Barrel is mad at me. Because when she asked if I wanted a to-go box for my eggs, I said yes, even though I didn't want a to-go box for my eggs, because who puts their eggs in a to-go box? But I didn't want to make her feel bad about the food that she didn't make, so I boxed up the eggs and walked them out of the Cracker Barrel and threw them right in the trash, and I'm sure she saw me, or if she didn't see me, I'm sure someone else saw me that's going to tell her, and now she's going to know that not only am I a liar, but I'm a person who wastes both food and takeout containers. And it's my fault the turtles are dying because I secretly love straws. And now I'll never be able to go back to the West Virginia Cracker Barrel ever again. And I really liked their peg game. I've been meditating. I like the guided meditations, but I don't like the ones on the app, so I've been making my own. I'd love to do one right now. Great. Okay, so everyone take a breath. Drop your shoulders. Keep your eyes open. I still want you looking at me. Now, I want you to imagine a time when you were the most authentic version of yourself. Maybe you're lying on the beach, listening to the palm fronds dancing in the wind. Maybe you're driving down the open highway, windows down. Billy Joel blasting from the speakers. Maybe you're 16 years old, face full of acne, mouth full of metal. It's the morning of the homecoming dance. You don't have a date, obviously. But you're going anyway. Surely when you strut through those double cafetorium doors, in that beaded tulle gown you bought so full of hope at TJ Maxx last week, the boys will come a-runnin'. And Brandon Michaels will finally be yours. Your mom takes you for a spray tan for your pasty indoor kid skin. But instead of turning you into a bronzed goddess like Kim Ruby, the most popular girl in 10th grade, it turns you bright orange. The very same shade as those traffic cones you barreled over when you failed your driving test last week. Next, it's time for your updo. You go to Dylan, who your mom calls her gay hairdresser. Because it's Ohio in the 90s. And that's the only gay person she's ever met. He piles your hair into a nest of snake-like tendrils atop your head, making you look like a tangerine Medusa. Surely anyone who gazes upon you shall turn to stone. Back home, you spritz a few sprays of your cucumber melon body spray onto your wrists, and then into your panties. You never know where the night might lead. Unbeknownst to you, you'll remain a virgin for the next decade and a half. You practice your kissing skills on the postcard of Leonardo DiCaprio from Romeo and Juliet, taped to your bedside table. Extra tongue. Eat a dick, Claire Danes. Your brother barges in on you and calls you an ugly freak with no friends. He's not wrong. But all of that changes tonight. Or so says your magic 8-ball. Outside of the house, your dad takes pictures of you holding a wilted flower in front of a dead bush. He says you look like a supermodel. You do not. Your parents drive you to the dance, and your mom asks for the 17th time why you didn't just take your brother as your date. They drop you off. You walk in. Through the glass cafetorium doors, you see Kim Ruby grinding up on Brandon to that Casey and JoJo song. And you think, it's my turn, sluts. You take a breath and strut through those glass cafetorium doors. Literally. You walk through the glass. The music stops. All heads turn. Blood and glass everywhere. What have you done? But then, something magical happens. The boys do come a-runnin'. The EMTs, that is. They cart you off to the hospital like some sort of modern-day Carrie. Like some sort of Cinderella who's turned into a literal glass slipper. And you spend the night in the emergency room. And all you can think is, thank God I sprayed my cooch with that cucumber melon body spray. I did have a hard time socially in high school, to the point that my mom bought me a book at one point called The Art of Conversation. It was written in the 1950s, so you know it was relevant and useful. It was just like, if you're a gentleman, a great way to engage with guests at parties is to ask about their hobbies. And if you're a gentlewoman, just keep your fat mouth shut. You yapping dame. I did grow up really sheltered. I remember I left Ohio to go to college in New York, and I had barely kissed a boy. And I remember at college orientation, they did this thing where they showed us how to put condoms on bananas. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, oh no. This whole time I've been eating them raw. I definitely have chlamydia. And I did. I didn't learn about the human anatomy growing up. Like I had two brothers, so I didn't really know what I was working with. You know, one of my earliest memories is of being at a department store with my mom and just being like, "Mom, my penis hurts." And my mom was just like, "You do not have a penis." But she didn't tell me what I did have, so when I went to college, I had a lot of catching up to do. I remember my college roommate had to explain the female anatomy to me when I asked her if the white discharge that comes out of women as part of our natural cycles, I asked her if those were your eggs dropping out of your body. I didn't know. Nobody ever told me. I thought I was a chicken. I sat on those eggs for months. I went to a small liberal arts college in New York, and it was really, I felt so out of my league there because it was all of these kids who had gone to private schools. They were all really smart. It was culture shock. Like they would all stand around just like smoking cigarettes, you know, just like I think we can all agree that Immanuel Kant's Critique of Pure Reason has its flaws. And I would just be there on the outskirts, just like, yeah, I think we can all agree that I can't believe these pussy eggs haven't hatched into chickens yet. My family, we're not big huggers. We all kind of have these like spindly limbs, you know? So I feel like getting a hug from us is kind of like getting attacked by a coat hanger, you know? It's just not too comfy. I feel like the way my family hugs is sort of like frat boys, just confused about their sexuality. Just like at a distance, afraid if we get too close, one of us might pop a boner. We express it verbally, though. You know, my mom is super effusive with verbal affection. She'll be like, "Leah, I love you so much. No homo." But my in-laws are big huggers. They're very physically affectionate. So it was a surprise when I met them. You know, I remember the first time I saw my husband and his dad hug. I was just like, "Oh God, who died? Aren't you guys afraid you're gonna get hard?" It's a weird thing to clap for, but I'll take it. My husband's a big planner. He planned our whole wedding. He was a total nightmare about it. Took the spotlight away from me. He was a full-on groomzilla. He insisted on having 13 groomsmen. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Also because I have like 2 friends. Like, he is one of them. The other one is Shelly from the Trader Joe's parking garage. Hey, Shelly. How much is it gonna cost you to show up on April 6th in a pink dress? I remember at one point we were designing invitations, and he turns to me and he goes, "This is my big day, and you're not gonna ruin it for me with your terrible taste in fonts." I was like, what is wrong with wingdings? That's a font joke, yeah. Look out, world. There's a new serif in town. Oh, okay. We're a font crowd. Wow. I thought I was about to be a Comic Sans an audience. Shut up. I know. My bachelorette party was a lot of fun. When all of my friends were both like, Leah, how does a weekend in wine country sound? I was like, listen, I'm a traditional girl. I want dicks flopping around in my face all night. Like, I don't want to sip on Sancerre. I want to take 5 buttery nipple shots and puke in a toilet stall that smells like dead dreams. I will save the wine tasting for my baby shower. Thank you very much. I am from Ohio. I was just there. I stayed with my parents. And it was good. My parents are the best, truly. Like, my mom, she's my biggest cheerleader. But when I'm home, she still treats me like a child, even though I'm basically too old to have a child. And I was there, and I was working, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go work at a coffee shop because I just couldn't field another question about how to work the Roku remote. And my mom goes, no, you can't go to that coffee shop. That's in a bad part of town. You could get kidnapped. Which I was like, thank you so much for thinking I'm still in the prime demographic for kidnapping. But I think I'll be good. And she goes, don't you say that? You're still young enough to get kidnapped. Any kidnapper would be lucky to nab you. I was like, Jesus. She was like, I'm serious. You would be the prettiest girl in that basement cell. All those other girls would be so jealous of you. Your ransom would be the highest ransom of all time. We wouldn't even be able to afford to get you out. I was like, honestly, Mom, that is the pep talk I didn't know I needed. I walked out that door to the first white unmarked van I could find. I was like, hi. Looking for someone to give some candy to? The guy was like, yikes, you old hag. Sped off. And that is why you never ask strangers for candy. You could get your feelings hurt.